Hi, everyone. This is Reverend Dr. Katie. I am really happy to be with you today. It is October 4th, 2017, and today we are talking about living with freedom and abundance in the face of tragedy. And we are all reeling right now after the really difficult and challenging news about the shootings in Las Vegas, the enormous loss of life, the enormous amount of injuries. I know I woke up on Monday morning and was in just shock about it. And I quickly went into pastor mode where we were taking care of community, offering some worship resources for people. And then it's still sinking in day after day after day. So I know this is true for many of you. So today I am talking about living with freedom and abundance, even in the face of terrible tragedy. And this, of course, relates to our chakras. So we are going to be talking about chakras. I want to post for you, just in case you have not gotten your free gift, which is connecting to your chakras in 10 minutes, even if you are a Christian. So I am posting that right now so that you can click on that if you've not yet received it, because I would love for you to be able to have that. And it gives you some tips for doing that very quickly in 10 minutes or less. And the more you practice, the better it gets. We're going to be talking about that a little later today, too. So I know after news like this with Las Vegas, and it applies to other kind of news too that affects us similarly, there's a great feeling of helplessness. There's a great feeling of isolation. Someone described what they were feeling as like a slow-moving glacier that just can't be stopped. Those are all really legitimate feelings, and I know we're in deep grief over the loss of life and this extreme violence. But as Christians, we are called to not live in this place of hopelessness because we believe that transformation is possible. Christ transforms day after day, and we are all new creations and new beginnings. Sometimes it's really hard to grab onto that when what we're facing just feels really insurmountable. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how we can live with freedom, how we can live with abundance, even when facing these really tough times. So number one, we actually have to acknowledge our feelings. We have to acknowledge that we do feel hopeless, or we do feel scared, or we do feel like nothing we do makes a difference. So acknowledging those feelings is actually step one, because the easier thing to do is to ignore them. Right? The easier thing to do is to distract ourselves. Sometimes distracting ourselves is good, right? Sometimes I tune into Netflix and I distract myself for a day and a couple of hours, whatever. But we can't stay there. If we stay there, then all of those feelings just build up and they will erupt at some point in the future, probably when you least want them to, right? So step one is acknowledging those feelings and just acknowledging that they exist. Actually, that acknowledgement will help you shift your energy before you even know it. Number two, we actually work on actively shifting our energy. If Christ calls us to freedom, we actually can't let the actions of violence of the world take that away. I'm not suggesting that we go out and be reckless, be free, run around and do reckless things. That's not what we're called to do. We are called to be change. We are called to be light in the world. We're called to live out of a place of abundance. So number three, how do we do that? The number one way that I know how to do that is to get grounded. After tragedy and trauma, whether that's direct or indirect, many of us feel like we kind of float through the world and we're numb. We avoid all of those hard realities and difficulties. We can't get our footing. Sometimes I feel like I trip over my words after these kind of events, like I can't quite collect even my own thoughts. And so getting grounded with our root chakra will help us face our own fears so that we can move forward positively. So your root chakra is the chakra at the very base of your spine. This is related to security. It's related to your basic needs. When we feel like our basic needs are under threat, like in the face of the tragedy and trauma in Las Vegas, sometimes we feel rootless or groundless. So if you kind of have that feeling right now, then really, really pay attention to this chakra. If you're brand new to chakras, I'm going to give you a really easy meditation that you can do to help yourself be grounded. From that place of groundedness, we can then move forward into freedom and into abundance. So I want to run this idea by you. If we let violence and terror dictate how we move through the world, we're actually not being true to our Christian calling of living into the freedom that Christ has given us. Right? So living in Christian freedom actually means facing that violence and saying no to it, and then being an agent of change so that that kind of violence ceases to exist as we live into the beloved kingdom that God calls us to live into. So one step at a time. The first step is actually for you to get grounded. If we run around just reacting, then we're not acting from a place of groundedness. We're not acting from a place of our own security and from a place of deep prayer. And so this meditation that I'm about to give you will help you do that. So I invite you to sit, put your feet flat on the floor. If you want to sit on the ground, actually on the earth outside, if weather is available to you, that is really great too. Otherwise, if you're inside like I am, you can just imagine the earth beneath you. So take a deep breath. Your root chakra is where we were focusing today. This is located at the base of your spine. So I'm going to invite you to now imagine roots shooting out from the base of your spine and from your feet. And these roots go down deep, deep, deep into the earth. The earth is God's own creation. The earth is what we are also made of. The same particles and atoms that create the universe and the earth also live inside of us. So this is our sister earth. We are a part of the earth. So your roots go down into the very center of the earth. They shoot down, down, down to that warm, hot, bubbly center. That is also God's own creation. Through these roots come all that beautiful energy from the earth. The same earth that feeds us will also sustain us in our root chakra. So receive that energy that comes up from the earth and let it fill your body, let it fill your soul. And just enjoy that for a moment. Now with those same roots, imagine anything that you don't need anymore. Fear, scarcity, guilt, shame. Imagine that flowing down those roots and you are giving that back to the earth. The earth is the ultimate recycler. So the earth will actually recycle those and use them into something good. If not for you, then for someone else. So release those. So you receive this earth energy and then you give back what you don't need anymore. When you're ready, just simply open your eyes and hopefully you feel more centered and more grounded. So this meditation is available for you anytime. The more you practice, the quicker you can get there. If you are walking around feeling ungrounded, like you're floating, do this exercise. It's really, really helpful. And then you work from a place of groundedness and you work from the inside out instead of floating around and just sort of reacting to whatever it is that's happening in our culture or in your own life. So if this meditation was really helpful for you, please contact me because I would like to know that. And I would also like to invite those of you for whom this feels like a really good start to contact me because I'm accepting beta testers right now in my new program, the Transformation and Awakening program. There are 12 beta tester spots because 12 is such a wonderful Jewish and Christian number, 12 of a lot in the Bible. And I already have 2, so I have 10 spaces left. And I would love for you to be able to take this kind of skill, like the root grounding meditation, to take that out into the world so that you are an agent of peace and of change. So in this program, we'll be talking, this is just really the tip of the iceberg, we'll be talking about chakras, about dreams, about all these many ways within a Christian context that God interacts with us and helps us be centered people so that we can live freely, so that we can live with abundance, like God calls us to live. So I would love to talk to you more about that. I am going to write my email here in the comments. You can email me or you can private message me too. So I'm Katie at katievalentine.com. That is Katy at Katie.